Steve, how's everyone come through that tight schedule of Saturday and Monday last weekend?
Well, obviously, we had Carl McAllister, Marcel. I'm just trying to think of the other guys really that we're still sort of waiting on. Other than that, yeah, everybody's come through it. You won't want to go through that though every 10 days, that's for sure.
And I guess rest has probably been important at the start of this week, has it?
Well, after that, they had 2 days off. Today was the first day they're back in. Sometimes on a 2 day off period, they come back in and can be a little bit rusty. They were like that at the start of the session this morning, but by the end of it, they were fine. So, yeah, they definitely needed that downtime. Certainly with the travelling on top, and then knowing full well we got to go travelling again. So, just for a change.
Yeah, I mean, everyone saw the 4 games at the start of the season away, but you and the players always said, well, it's actually 6 out of the first 7. How much did you need that first home game against Altrincham just to sort of, get some downtime away from the bus driver?
Well, what we didn't, there's nothing wrong with our bus driver, by the way. I love him, Dean. He's a great guy. So, yeah, we're well happy with Dean. So, yeah, we didn't need time away from the bus driver. He might have needed time away from us, if I'm brutally honest. But yeah, no, we like Dean, and we have some good banter with him. When he gets stuck in the motorway and all of that business, it was a little shout. It always comes from me anyway, so it wouldn't have come this way. But he takes it all in good fun and good spirit. So yeah, he's a great guy. We like him. So it wasn't time away from that really. It's just time away from being on the road. But that doesn't change really until 14 or 15 games. So what we have got after this, we've got another 2 away games now. We still get another hit after that really. It's not just the 6 and 7. It's like the 9 and 14. So the beginning of the campaign is certainly challenging. That's for sure. Coming home to a home game, it was nice to have a home game, but it would have been nice to have come into the home game as certainly a bit fresher than we were. Yeah. So we're pleased to come through that period. And yeah, we've come out the other end of it okay.
And Sutton, obviously, the team along with yourselves who came down from the Football League last season. So I guess there's something you can compare yourselves against again.
I think, to be fair, their size changed a fair bit. Ours has changed probably, I don't know, 50% of it, 60% of it, whereas theirs has probably changed a bit more than ours. But they've had a good start, and it'll be a game that we're looking forward to. So yeah, we don't quite know what to expect too much early on. Obviously, we've had a look at them and we know what to expect. But yeah, they seem to have had a good start.
And talking of starts, obviously with those away games, how much have you found out about your players? Sort of through adversity, because that's when you really learn about people, isn't it?
Well, when you say adversity, what do you mean by that? Do you mean fatigue? Do you mean the travelling? What do you mean?
Mental toughness as much as anything, to actually go into that and keep going it and picking up the results on the way.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, obviously there's still a good overlap. There's probably still half of the side here from last year, if you know what I mean. So I probably wouldn't have learnt too much more about the guys that were already here. The newer guys coming in, you'll always learn about them. You're always going to do that until you actually work with them. So, yeah, I think I would have learnt plenty. But there wasn't anything all of a sudden in that period of time, that 2 or 3 weeks, that I probably wouldn't have learnt being with them in pre-season. And that's why the trips are invaluable. They're going out to Germany and having, a good sort of 12 days, nearly 2 weeks, living in each other's pockets. That was invaluable, that. And for them too.
Obviously, they're ambitious. They want to, take the club back up. How much do you have to sort of manage the expectation that they'll feel and the pressure they put under themselves? Because, it is still a good start that they're making.
Well, I spoke to Paul Cook yesterday, and he said to me, and it was really interesting. I've known Cookie a long time, and he said to me, the biggest challenges you'll come up against, he said, is everybody will want to beat you. So everybody will be up for the game when you go to play them. And when you look at some of the results, that's what's happened. And teams have been up for us. And we've just got to make sure that we can bounce that back and get up for them as much as they're up for us. So, he said to me, you've got a target on your back. And that's what he had. He said he had that for 2 years. So, it was an informative conversation yesterday.
Because the extension is that, yes, teams will be up for you, but you'll be used to that week in, week out, won't you?
Well, I hope so. I hope so, yeah. I mean, you can't always say what's going on in people's minds. You can't always say that. So that's the motivational part that myself and my staff have to work on with them, not only the tactical side of the game, but the motivational side of it as well.
How pleased are you of the variety of sources of goals in the team so far? Obviously, Christian Doidge has got his share, but when people like Charlie McCann pop up with a stoppage time winner, that's got to be great too.
For sure. I mean, I've said all along, when you're recruiting people, you've got to try and recruit goals as well as much as you can. For us to pop up all, Ryan getting one on the first day of the season, that was important. Sirks has scored as well, so that's what he would bring anyway. The more people that chip in with a goal, it just helps, and it takes the weight off the strikers. Because if your team don't score, or if your team are not scoring, and that's been a period here for probably a little while now, and from what I hear before I got here as well. So it is important that you do put the ball in the back of the net, and it keeps the confidence up of the strikers. I said had a conversation with Christian this morning, and I'm always delighted when the strikers score, because I think they live off that. That's really, really important to them. You can be in a game as a striker and you can be playing really, really well, and you can have 4 or 5 games and you've been absolutely first class, but if you haven't scored, what will happen eventually is your confidence will dip. And I thought Christian was magnificent on Monday. I really thought he was excellent, and I don't think Christian would have been able to do that last year, go that Saturday, Monday. But I think the strength program and the weights program that he did this summer, I think he has benefited from that so much. I think at the start of this season, in pre-season, I don't think he looked particularly sharp. And I had this conversation with him this morning, so we're not opening up too much. But I thought that he looked strong on Saturday. I thought he looked really strong, and that's important for him. All those hours that he would have done in the gym in the summer, where no one's watching you, that's where the important work gets done. And all that, I think, he's really, really benefited from. And I was delighted he got his goal. Absolutely delighted. And that'll keep him going.